I've got no clue how to start this video, so I'm just gonna start talking. This is a box of .Hack Enemy, a TCG that came out in 2004 to 2005, based on the original .Hack series. So the game's not the anime. It's it's a pretty cool game. These boxes aren't very difficult to get, which is surprising to me. I guess they were pretty overprinted. The reception of the game, it's kind of hard, honestly, to find anything about this game. The only people who have done any sort of preservation of this or talk about it at all are like .hack fans. So if you look for it, you're going to find a post on Reddit, various posts on Reddit about people discovering it for the first time, and then everyone in the post being like, yeah, we get one of these once a year. But it's a really cool game. I haven't gotten a chance to ever play it with a person, but I've messed around with it. I've known about it for a while. This box was just the right price. It was about $60. That's the average rate of these boxes, between 50 to 80, except inexplicably there are 4 series of this card game. Series 2, $600 a box. Don't know why. You expect this kind of stuff from the very first in a series, because that's usually the one that is either the shortest printed because they're not sure how popular it's going to be, or it's like the one that sells out the most frequently because it was the start of it. People were excited for it. There's a lot of gas, but no, the second one is that I suspect it's probably because it has Mia on the front. Of course you know what .hack is, or you wouldn't be here. But Mia, the fucking furry tsundere cat girl. That's probably the only reason why it has value, is because people are degenerate freaks. So, needless to say, I will never own a box of that. But I finally did bite the bullet, buy a box here. My fiance loves opening stuff, so we're just each opening half the box. I've known about this game, but I've never really actively researched it. Opening these cards and stuff is a blast from the past of what it was like in the early 2000s, playing trading card games that were not named specifically Pokemon, TCG, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic the Gathering. I mean, so many companies put out these trading cards, and as you can see here, it's literally screenshots from the anime and screenshots from the games. Like they fancy out the background a little, but like these are like in-game PS2 graphics and just straight up like screen caps from the anime for a lot of these cards. Which, that was like the norm. I mean, that's what the Dragon Ball Z card game looked like. That's what the Gundam card game looked like. That's what basically every anime card game was like back then. I'll get into Distortion, the people who put this out, in a moment, but it's also like real difficult to tell what the rare is. I'm not even sure if the rares are seated in a certain place in the pack, kind of how Pokemon's like third from the back or whatever. I think Yu-Gi-Oh's the last card. I don't know. I haven't bought a Yu-Gi-Oh pack since I was a child. Like Metal Raiders was contemporary, but it's really difficult because nothing looks special. The only foiled cards in this are the extra rares. So you've got your tiers of common, uncommon, and then rare and extra rare. I don't know if it was just luck or what, but I pulled exactly 4 extra rares out of 30 packs, and this feels about like the number that you would expect to see out of a box just from trading card games. So I don't know if they're seated that way. Could just be coincidence. I did pull 4 consecutively numbered rares though. So, you know, all card games have their like set number on it. So like I don't remember the exact number, I'd have to pull them out. But say like 27, 28, 29, 30. That seems really odd, especially since there are 12 extra rares in this Sanjiro set. So, you know, that's divisible by 4, or, well, yes, it is divisible by 4. But, so, I got 4 in a box, which is my theory of what the max is, and there are 3 sequences of 4 in that, which the pessimist in me is inclined to believe that they are seeded, and that also means that the minimum amount of boxes you would have to buy is 3, and that's assuming you did not get a duplicate box. I would have to buy and open another box to confirm that, but I'm not really interested in doing that. I just wanted to open a box once for fun, and to complete the set, I'll just order singles. The cards in this are, like, worthless, which is crazy, because I also used to collect the just PS2 RPGs and fighting games, and the .Hacks were always like one of the like most sought after, most ridiculously expensive series. That and like Xeno Saga and various other series that weren't popular in the U.S. The reason why is they were short printed because the series wasn't doing super great. You know, Toonami showed the anime. I don't even think they ever finished a full run of it, and the games kind of less and less were sold of each one of the original series. I think GU actually did really well. So here we got our first rare. This is what the rares look like. It's not super exciting foiling. It's just it's foil, which you know that scratches the itch, but. Yeah, back to what I was saying about the games. The quarantine was always a really expensive part of a PS2 collection. So you would expect that this being kind of a niche thing would fall into the same kind of like price bracket for being sought after. It's not though. It's like every card is like 25-cent value. The rares, like the super rares, not the rares are also only like $1. But like the super rares, those foil cards, are between $4 and $6. There are only 2 cards that I could find across all 4 sets that have any sort of real value, and they're both $60, which is a lot whenever everything else is $2. But in today's TCG environment, where you know, a full art Pokemon trainer will run you like $1,000 for some reason. That's nothing. $60 is, I mean, it's the cost of an entire box of this game, but it's insignificant. So, you know, there's not really a reason to hunt the boxes, because it's not like you'll crack a card that's going to pay for the whole thing. Which is probably why the boxes are so cheap anyway. But this card game was pretty well received from what I've seen in my research. They did at least one tournament. They actually printed a card for it that had the tournament dates on it. I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to get my hands on one. But it was well received. The game is actually like thoughtfully made. Like, these people designed a game. They didn't just print stuff on cards and be like, here's a trading card game. Like this one's kind of a big pull, but there was a Shaolin Showdown card game that was barely a game and really just pictures of the anime on cardboard. And that's kind of what I expected this to be, but there's a real game in this, and it's pretty cool. Deck building actually like requires thought. There's interaction from players on both players' turns. There's not like hand traps or counter spells or anything like that, but it's not just like playing solitaire, which is really cool. It's a shame that, you know, I didn't know about this when it was contemporary. I would have been way too young anyway. I would have been like, I don't know, 8 or 9. And this was before GU came out. So, like I mentioned, GU was pretty successful. So, if they would have held on to the IP and continued to make it, and this stopped in 2004, GU came out in 2006, I know that like holding on to something like this for 2 years and not making any money is like the dumbest thing a business could do. But I think it probably would have actually done a lot better. I don't know that it ever would have been mainstream. It would have stopped eventually, no matter what. It could come out today. I mean, the resurgence of like the Dragon Ball Super card game, the Digimon card game that actually makes sense, and I mean, Vanguard left and came back. I'm told that Duel Masters is still a thing in like Korea and Japan. So even though it's a very saturated market, card games are doing much better, mostly because the titans of Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are kind of losing a lot of steam. So I would like to see something like this come back. It probably won't. I can't even tell if Decipher is still a company. I tried to find out. Their webpage has a broken image on it, but it is still up. It doesn't redirect you to anything. The Wikipedia page doesn't seem to have a date for whenever they stopped being in business. But there was apparently a very large embezzling issue that they had. And that could kind of hurt a company, I've heard. So they haven't made anything in a minute from what I've seen. They kind of put all their stock into like a Star Wars and Star Trek game, which people seem to really like. I don't know anything about them. But these people really just kind of threw shit at the wall. If you look them up on Wikipedia and you just go through the games that they've created, they had an Austin Powers CCG, which is insane. That is, you have to be a crazy person to be like, man, we need to acquire the IP for the fucking parody spy movie, and we need to make this a card game. But they did. They also had a Beyblade card game, which looks sick. It was not popular from what I've seen, but I mean, I'm into that concept. So they went for it a lot, and unfortunately, they just, I mean, having one of the higher up people steal a bunch of your money and lay people off because he's a greedy piece of shit who did end up going to jail, so the silver lining there. That kind of hurts your company. So I doubt that they're still around. Apparently they still keep in touch with some of the Star Trek CCG like Facebook groups. So these were like passionate designers, and that's awesome, and you could see it in their game. It's definitely something that's worth looking into. Like they're card games. The company, there's no point in looking into that. But there is some pretty cool resources. The .Hack enemy webpage, which I'll have linked in the description. It's maintained. Like it was updated in like 2022. So it is being maintained. All the links work on it. They have all the rule sets. They've got like information about anything you could want to know. So, you know, links to a Discord. I'm sure the Discord's active. I don't know. I don't love joining random Discords and getting notifications every couple minutes, so I haven't actually looked at the Discord. But they've got links to the Tabletop Simulator download for it, with all the cards in there. They've got rule sets for running locals, and there's clearly still a passionate fan base, which I'd expect from the .Hack series. I mean, there was a competitive scene for the fighting game, which was terrible. I'm not gonna even pretend like it wasn't, but I played it, I loved it, and there are other people who love it too. This series just kind of had that power, and obviously the formula still does, because it's literally just Sword Art Online, but old and less tropey. I mean, they're the same tropes, but this was before the tropes were everywhere, so it wasn't a trope yet. They're like the progenitor of the tropes, and it just has that kind of grip on people. The the cards themselves, I didn't even realize that's a rare. I just threw in that pile. That's what I mean by like they don't, the foiling is so like weak you don't even notice. But the card game's really awesome. I definitely think that other people should check it out. There's video tutorials for it too, and see if it's something that you would want to play with your friends. Now, as far as like buying the cards, I don't really think there's any reason to. The IP license expired so long ago, and honestly, nothing's being done with Dot.Hack anyway. The last thing they did with it was the Dot.Hack Last Recode, which was just a terrible fourth installment of GU that was like 2 hours long, and just a remaster of the first three. And that's it. Bandai's basically given up on Dot.Hack. CyberConnect is working on various arena brawlers, and there's probably not going to be another Dot.Hack. So this is all second market anyway, and once things become exclusively second market, it's maybe an unpopular opinion, I don't really see any reason to buy them anymore. Because part of the reason to buy things and not just emulate or proxy them is to support the company so that they keep making the thing you like. Well, this thing's been dead for 20 years. So, like, feel free to pay $600 for a box of cards, or go to the website that I have linked in the description, pull all the images, click on the video I have linked in the description that tells you how to make proxies, and just print your own. Like, if you're a collector, sure, buy the real cards, collect them, cool. If you just want to like explore something and see if it's any good, just proxy them, or just use Tabletop Simulator. Personally, I prefer holding things. I'm autistic, I want the tactile feeling of holding them, and these these cards, not the greatest quality. Not only is the image quality kind of whack, the cardboard doesn't feel great, which is expected. Pokemon and Magic the Gathering use kind of like thicker cardboard. Their cards have like a certain feel to them, so it's really obvious when a card is fake. These feel like those fake cards. It's it's what you expect from basically the shovelware of TCGs, which, no disrespect to the people who made it, like I said, clearly designers cared, clearly I like the product, but the quality is lacking, and that's probably because they didn't really believe in the product. Even the packs, you may have noticed, I, as well as my fiance, have struggled to open some of these packs. This could just be because they're old, and they've heated up and cooled down repeatedly, but they are very difficult to open cleanly, and they kind of feel like just the heat press they used was kind of weird. But those are like minor quality issues, and that's a really stupid thing to get hung up on. The cards are cool. I'm really happy to have finally gotten them. I did go ahead and buy the other 2 boxes, so I have 3 of the 4 sets. Like I said, I'm never going to have that $600 set. That doesn't interest me. My days of paying top dollar to collect stuff are long gone. I'm just no longer in that kind of like headspace with the hobby. But I really am looking forward to trying to get some of my friends into playing this, and opening those other 2 boxes, seeing if my suspicions are correct about the way that packs are, or boxes are seated, and probably finishing at least this set by just buying the rest of the singles. I was missing 19 cards, so I got all the commons and uncommons, which you would expect, and whiffed on 19, which honestly, that's pretty good for a single box. I'm happy with that. The kind of annoying thing about collecting this is, and I'll show it actually. Let me switch over to the binder so you can see. So, as you can see, the way it is in here, and this is a pack which I just resealed with glue just to have like a physical thing. So the way that they have these in here is alphabetized, and their set number corresponds to that. So you get all these like blue, red, green, and it's very unsightly. But as you can see, these are the rares. This is where I start missing stuff. And sorry. And here, this page of 9, it's actually 10 missing cards in sequence. Those are from the starter deck, which only way to get them is to have the starter deck.